The 30th anniversary of the arrival of British ground troops on the Falkland Islands has been marked by the people who live there. By today, the 22nd of May, Royal Marines and Paratroopers had established themselves on the islands in what was the start of the land battle and the turning point of the war. Charlotte Cross reports from San Carlos, where many of them arrived.
Under the gaze of HMS Clyde in San Carlos water, they gathered to pay their respects. Islanders, veterans and those who currently serve all took time to reflect on what happened here at San Carlos 30 years ago. In the peace and the silence, it's hard to imagine it now, but in 1982, British Royal Marines and Paratroopers arrived here en masse, coming ashore from the ships in landing craft and pontoons.
When we heard the news by the BBC, it was incredible news, fantastic news. We knew then the beginning of the end for the Argentines. So yeah, a very, very joyous occasion when we heard that.
A very noisy night, lots of activity, of course. A small settlement was just transformed in the space of one night, and noise. Bodies everywhere, machinery, weapons, ammunitions.
We went outside and we watched the land crafts coming in. Yeah. It was like silhouetted across the bay, and they land down by the back of the shooting shed over there in that bay, and some lay, by where the cemetery is. And we thought we've seen a silhouette of guys walking along the beachway. We better go in here. They might think we're Argentine guards or something like that.
The troops dug in, readying themselves for the long march into battle ahead. Relieved to see them after 7 weeks of occupation, the Islanders did whatever they could to help.
There was local people that ferried munitions to the front line and, really did get stuck in. Even at 10-year-old, I tried to help them as much as I could and helped dug a few trenches.
Yeah, we had to resupply all the troops on the bridgehead here. We just have to take all the food and water to them all the time, and then move water pontoons around, and it's quite a busy time.
The troops and ships at sea were soon under attack. Harrier aircraft managed to keep many of the Argentine Skyhawk fighter planes at bay, but 2 got past them and swooped in on British positions in San Carlos water. The Argentine counter-attack was so sustained here that British troops dubbed San Carlos water Bomb Alley. But the Argentine pilots had another name for it. They called it Death Valley because more than 80 of their aircraft never returned.
Things were just coming in from left, right and centre and exploding and going off, and then it would go quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden there'd be air raid warning red. We'd all rush out into our trenches and then watch the show again.
We used to, air warnings and used to get into a hole, but we had to give it up in the end because it was taking up too much time. Wasting time for helping out the guys for getting gear ashore and, whatever they wanted up in the hills and whatever. So, yeah, it was a busy, noisy time.
The service of remembrance was held in the Blue Beach Cemetery in San Carlos, where 14 men killed in action are still buried. Prayers were said, wreaths were laid, and the last post was played.
Mixed emotions, because I've lost people that I knew, but then you see what the Islanders are doing for the guys that have been and come back, and it's just all overwhelming.
Our message is, we owe our today to what they did 30 years ago, and especially to those and the families of those who never went back.
There's no doubt these Islanders remain grateful for what was done in their name. Charlotte Cross, Forces News, San Carlos.